These teams are absolutely the biggest losers of this offseason. Now that free agency has opened, the big fish have basically all been reeled in. The major trades, the Giannis trade, the Leonard trade, the Jaylen Brown trade have already gone through. Bashan Sharp, who swore he'd die playing for LeBron, went to the Clippers. The biggest remaining question marks are where LeBron ends up and the Lakers' potential savior, Jonathan Kuminga. So most teams' summer reinforcements are basically wrapped up, which is why I'm going to run through the biggest off-season losers so far. Who do you think the biggest losers will be? Drop their names in the comments and like and save this video before we dig in. Every single starter from the Lakers' playoff rotation last season is gone. The Lakers front office has shown zero mercy to the loyalists. In one summer, they brought in 5 new players: Kessler, Grimes, Mamukelashvili, Sexton, and Hardy. To sign Kessler, Pelinka gave up 2 first-round picks, plus 2 first-round pick swaps, on top of a 4-year, $130 million mega contract. That price is way too high. Under those circumstances, how badly did Pelinka get played by Ainge? Kessler is a high-level center. His rim protection and lob finishing fit well with Dhoni and the Lakers. But he's never played a single playoff game. And he's about to turn 25. I don't think a player nearly 25 has all that much remaining upside. Given his profile as a blue-collar role player, there's no way he's better than Gobert, and he's not clearly better than Zubac either. His ceiling isn't very high, and it'll be tough for him to deliver good contract value. 4 years, $60 million. The Lakers also signed Grimes. That contract is a little expensive. Another 4-year deal plus a player option. Grimes' skill set is comparable to Smart 3 and D plus some ball handling. Taking into account offense, defense, playoff experience, and contract value, I don't think Grimes is better than Smart, especially in the playoffs. 4 years, $52 million for Mamukelashvili, another long deal with a player option. This guy was a fringe NBA player just 2 years ago. And he's already played for 5 different teams in 6 years. Giving players like this 4-year deals with player options attached, do you not realize the risk? Mamukelashvili basically has no defense, some post-up shooting, some ball handling, some driving ability as a small ball 4-5. But any 4 or 5 who can't defend simply can't play in the playoffs even at 42. LeBron's defense would blow this guy out of the water. 2 years, $19 million for Sexton. That's actually solid value. Sexton's biggest problem is still his lack of defense as the second or third ball handler alongside Dhoni and Reeves. If you can't defend, how are you supposed to share the floor with them? The Ayton for Hardy trade got the Lakers 2 future second-round picks and saved $2. $1 million in cap space, modest benefits. But in terms of on-court strength, the Lakers lost value. Ayton is at least a rotation-caliber center, while Hardy is fundamentally a guard. You've already got Dhoni, Reeves, and Sexton. Why do you need another Hardy? Is Hardy's defense even better than theirs? I have serious doubts. And if you're moving on from Ayton, you need to replace him with a center. Reportedly, they have interest in Vasquez and Kevin Knox, but can either of these guys actually play in the playoffs? The second problem, after this entire string of moves, Lakers management basically has no future assets, left just 1 first-round pick swap and 3 second-round picks. What can you even patch up with that? If the Lakers' young players don't produce value, the Lakers have 0 trade capital left. With no future assets and yet still handing out 4-year contracts with player options, what are you trying to accomplish? You can't just do whatever your star player wants. If you grovel and appease endlessly, you get nothing. You can't buy loyalty that way. Looking at the Lakers roster for next season, there's a massive glut of 1s and 2s offering offense but no defense. There isn't a single standard functional 3, there's only 1 true 4, and Mamukelashvili offers essentially 0 defense. There's only 1 center and no strong backup. The forward rotation is razor thin, and the bench barely has any players capable of contributing in a real game. If this team can still make the top 4 in the West next season, send my regards to Dhoni. Now, Jaylen Brown is absolutely an overrated player. He's a high-volume scorer with isolation and mid-range shot creation ability, but consistently average efficiency, needing huge usage to produce mediocre results without elevating his teammates. His shot selection has consistently ranked among the worst in the league. On defense, Brown is strong one-on-one, but his off-ball defense often shows him watching the ball instead of his man, and his help-side defense is weak. Over the past 3 years, he's ranked among the worst in the league at forcing turnovers. Last season, in drawing charges and disrupting possessions. He only ranked ahead of about 33% and 28% of the league, respectively. Overall, Brown is a one-dimensional, one-on-one defender who contributes little in help defense or rotations. Passing and elevating teammates are glaring weaknesses. Last season, he averaged 3.6 turnovers per game, among the worst ratios of any primary option in the league. When he's on the floor, his teammates collectively score 16 fewer points per 100 possessions, and the team gets 2 fewer possessions per 100. Look at the past 4 straight seasons, every single one. The team performed worse with Brown on the floor than off it. In my evaluation, Jaylen Brown is roughly a $45 million a year caliber player, but he's sitting on a 3-year, $183 million supermax contract. It wouldn't be a huge problem for the Celtics to move him. The reason the Celtics are this offseason's biggest loser is that they took back Paul George 2 years left at $55 million per year. George is 35, and over the past 5 seasons his availability rate has been just 58%. Over the past 2 seasons he's played just 41 and 37 games. His impact metrics have been declining steadily since around 2020. His career peak was really 19 through 21. George and Brown are essentially 2 sides of the same coin. Brown is a high-volume scorer with poor efficiency and average playmaking. George's biggest problem has been declining physical resilience. In the 25-26 season, he only averaged 23 points per 36 minutes, with usage below 25% in each of the past 2 seasons. He can really only function as a team's 3rd offensive option now. His current scoring efficiency isn't even clearly better than Brown's. Where George is stronger offensively is in the carefulness of his passing, his shot decision-making, and his off-ball floor spacing. Defensively, though, George's impact is genuinely greater than Brown's. Even now, he remains an excellent on-ball and help-side defender. His defense-adjusted plus-minus over the past 3 years still ranks ahead of about 95% of the league. Brown's one-on-one defense is strong, but his off-ball defense, rotations, and overall defensive IQ still lag noticeably behind George's. Looking at last season's advanced metrics, George's EPM was actually higher than Brown's, but that doesn't mean he's the better overall player, because his role has become so limited and he's no longer durable. Factor in his age, injury risk, and the $55 million owed for 2 more years. The Celtics haven't gotten more competitive because of this move. They've taken a step further from a championship. That's why I consider the Celtics a loser this offseason. The Pistons are a hidden loser so far. Last season they finished first in the East with 60 wins, only to fall short in the second round, exposing real issues. Cunningham lacks a strong second ball handler, and the team's floor spacing and shooting are insufficient. In late June, after moving Stewart for cap space, they briefly cleared up to $75 million, but ultimately stuck with re-signing their own free agents instead. So far, no real ball handler addition, no second primary scorer, not even a decent secondary ball handler. Their contract extension saga with starting center Doran remains unresolved, constraining the whole offseason. The Stewart for cap space move didn't add real strength. Stewart's defense was a pillar for the Pistons. They used 2 second-round picks to bring back shooter Isaiah Joe, whose contract is solid 2 years at $11 million average. Joe shot 42.3% from 3 last season, a genuinely high-efficiency shooter, but defense remains a real weakness. And he basically can't get on the floor in high-intensity playoff matchups. They also re-signed a shooting guard to a 3-year, $9 million per year deal. His three-point percentage was just 30.8% last season, and his career playoff mark is only 30.6%. His form has been declining since 22-23, with weak defensive impact and inconsistent availability. Between these 2 additions, they've already spent $20 million. The Pistons also brought in John Collins for 3 years, $51 million. Collins has excellent athleticism and finishing ability, some ball handling, some post skill, and can hit spot-up threes. But his fit on both ends isn't great. Compared to Harris, Collins is more of an off-ball finisher who needs heavy interior touches. His scoring zones overlap significantly with Doran and Osar Thompson, both of whom also need paint touches and roll opportunities. Harris, by contrast, could shoot off the ball and solve problems from mid-range. So stylistically, Collins is actually less compatible with Doran and Thompson than Harris was. Defensively, despite some flashy blocks last season, Collins' metrics over the past 3 years have only ranked ahead of about 27% of the league. His defensive IQ is concerning, his lateral movement is rough, and his help-side awareness is lacking. I genuinely don't think Collins is a great fit for the Pistons on either end. Are the Pistons even keeping Duncan Robinson? If they let him go, who starts at the 5th spot? After all this activity, they still haven't reinforced their starting 5. While the rest of the East upgrades, the Pistons' entire offseason has been a genuine failure. The roster structure hasn't really changed, and its overall strength has actually declined. So besides these 3 teams, which other teams' offseason moves do you think have been disappointing? Wishing everyone peace and happiness. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, everyone.